This is Gabriel Gonzalez for Cageside Press, here with UFC flyweight Miranda Fear the Maverick, who is stepping in on short notice to take on Sabina Mazo on March 12th at UFC Vegas 50. Miranda, so we found out about this fight, I believe, Thursday or Friday. When did they first call you to say, hey, Mandy's out, we might have a fight for you on short notice?
The day before that. So I actually went Tuesday night, I believe it was. We were discussing taking it. I think it was like 5-ish p.m. that I got the call and was like, hey, you want this fight? Talked to my coaches and we were like, yeah, let's see where your cardio is. But we're leaning towards yes. I came in that night, trained for like 2.5 hours straight until I was just burnt out. And we were like, all right, we're taking it. Good to go. And agreed to it that night, signed the papers that morning and posted right away. But yeah, right before that, the funny part is that there were two flyweight fights. Both had somebody drop out, and I got called to fight my own teammate first. So JJ had her opponent fall out, and they were like, "You want to fight JJ?" And my manager was like, "That's your teammate, though, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, it is." And he was like, "Yeah, I think Mick got confused." So Mick was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot she moved out there and everything." And so that was funny. And then there it was, maybe 12 hours later. I get the call about Sabina instead because Mandy had dropped out.
Can I ask, so JJ lost her opponent. Who was the other flyweight that you might have been fighting, if I may ask?
Oh, that's who it would have been.
Oh, okay, just JJ.
JJ lost. Who was her opponent before that? Ariana. Yeah, yeah, she was supposed to fight Lipsky. She dropped out, and Jillian ended up taking the fight instead.
Well, my question for this, Miranda, because like most fighters, I know you don't get out of shape. I know there's very little. You told me what your rest day is like. I don't think that counts, but okay. Just talk to me a little bit about training, because I know you post about a lot. You're busy with seminars, other things like that. I mean, how much were you actually in the gym on the grind before they gave you that call?
Every day of the week, and Saturdays. Sundays are usually the only days I take off, except now because I'm in a short notice fight camp, so I train today. But usually I take off every Sunday. But Saturdays I train, Fridays we're sparring. I do all the exact same practices I would in fight camp. The only difference is usually we match the intensity up a little bit when I'm in fight camps and make sure I have a peak performance level and go back down. Plus we had a couple girls getting ready for fights, so I was in there every day trying to be the best partner I could be for them. And the seminars, they'll get in the way. They'll take out a day of training every once in a while, but I figure it's worth it to spread the knowledge and everything. So obviously I had, if anybody was keeping up, I had a seminar that was scheduled for March 5th, which would have been this coming weekend, canceled it so that I could, or technically rescheduled it for the week after my fight. So hopefully I don't get hurt. And, so that I could focus on this fight. So that's really the only difference, is making sure I don't have anything I'm busy with during fight camps.
Totally get that. Well, Miranda, I'd like to actually work a little bit backwards. I'd like to go back to December, that fight with Aaron. Obviously, we saw your post. You're very critical of your own performance. Just talk to me, because I know you had started, working with the team in Colorado and everything. Just what do you feel happened in there that didn't go your way?
I think it was my mindset more than anything. I'm not used to losing a first round of a fight ever that I can think of. And I think it was just going in there and not expecting for her to take me down and hold me down for a whole round pretty much. And I think after that, it was just kind of a downhill battle of self-defeating, of being like, oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. I'm losing. Everybody saw I'm losing. And then I lost another round, like, oh no. And I don't want to take anything away from Erin. She's a very good grappler, very good fighter in general. She did a really good job of controlling and staying, half a step ahead of me on the ground and just maintaining that space and making sure I wasn't able to get up. But I do think I had an off night in terms of just let myself start a downward spiral, and wasn't able to capitalize on anything because I was stuck on bottom. It's one thing to bite down on the mouthpiece and just keep swinging when you're tired. It's another to just be on bottom and just be like, what do I do, other than survive right now.
Can I ask, was there any animosity with you and Aaron? Because that became a little bit of a thing after the fight. It felt like you were, and I know you always have this kind of expression, so I don't want to say it's particularly out of her, but it felt like, there's just a little slightly less cordial atmosphere with you two. Considering it was short notice, it's not like you had a long time to go back and forth between, on social media and everything.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything. We were never friends and we were never not friends. She isn't the most social type. So there was no real talking beforehand. After, I'd say hi to her and start a conversation. There just really was none. And some girls are like that. Some girls like talking to you, and others are just really hateful, and I think she just never really talked at all. So I can't say anything bad about her, but I also don't know anything about her good. So
Fair enough, fair enough.
I assume we'll meet in the cage a couple years down the road again anyway, just like everybody else I fought, considering it's all the girls under 25 pretty much.
Yeah, it's funny how that works, isn't it? It's like you guys, it's like somehow they can't find enough veterans for you guys. It's an interesting
Uh,
thing.
I know.
To talk about a little bit, going back to Colorado. So obviously, first fight with your camp, the Aaron fight. I mean, you know, doesn't go your way. Just can you talk a little bit about that experience now? Because it's one thing. Okay, this is my first fight. This is my first camp. Now, first time with my coaches, and we're talking about how to improve. Can you talk a little bit about that when you went back to the team and essentially back to the lab to work on everything?
Yeah, I felt really good. I'm really confident in them. I moved here for the best training in what I think is the whole world, and I still believe that. A lot of people were hating on the team after I had lost, and I'm like, one, it was a new environment for me, but just because I had one bad fight doesn't mean that my team is bad or that we weren't working on the ground game. And we've talked about it before, actually. Like, people who have only watched my UFC career assume I have no ground game, assume I have no wrestling, and it's almost amusing to me because that's all I was ever known for before the UFC. I had a bad night. I was going against a very good grappler, and that seems to be all the UFC wanted to pair me up against until hopefully this fight. So I think it's going to be a pretty dominant performance this time. But my team, I feel very comfortable with them now. You probably see on social media, we have a really good group of females in there, high talent, high prospects within the UFC. I'm training with every single day, getting to spar with on a regular basis. And I'm really excited to show that and show both my ground game improvements, my striking improvements. I feel like the biggest improvement is putting it all together. And that's something I lacked when I lived out in Virginia was we had great jiu-jitsu and we had great Muay Thai, but we didn't really have many MMA partners or MMA practices for that matter. And here we spar MMA gloves every time. It's not like we're doing just striking or just jiu-jitsu. We're always doing practical in the cage stuff.
To switch gears to Sabina now, obviously, you are stylistically different opponent from Mandy too. But also, very interesting. I think that Sabina also, she's feeling a little bit of the pressure. She hasn't had, a great run so far. She's had some not go her way. Just what are your thoughts on her as an opponent? And do you feel like she might be going out there with a little bit more pressure than usual?
I would say she is. I'm on a 2-fight losing streak just like she is, and I get it, to where it's one of those scary moments of, am I going to get cut? Am I going to have a bad future ahead of me? Am I going to go lower from this? And it's almost interesting to me that she took the fight, to be honest, because if I were her, I'd be thinking it was a risky move. But I'm really excited to go in there and go against the best version of Sabina. I've watched her fights. I've already analyzed her a lot, and I think it's a great matchup.
To talk about her a little bit, I mean, how do you feel? What are some things you feel like you can take advantage of in there? Because she's known for her striking. Obviously, you haven't shown as much of your grappling in the UFC, but most people figure, hey, Miranda's physicality gonna try to overcome that striking of Sabina Mazo and that length of hers for the weight class.
Yeah, I don't want to give away, a whole game plan or anything, but I
Oh,
think,
it's just you and me.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'll keep
right.
it a secret.
I think it is one of those things where it's just I'll be the bully in there. She's gone against Agapova, who was backing up the whole time and still beating her up. I'm not going to back up very, very much. I'm not the best at backing up, but we've actually been working that a lot lately, of me being able to not be the bull in the china cabinet, as my coach refers to me, and being able to time things and work on reactions and things of that sort. And there might be times in that fight when I need that, but I'm also going to be pressuring forward a lot more than most of the opponents she goes against. I'm a southpaw, which, JJ Aldrich and Justine Kish did that a little bit with her. I even thought Justine did pretty well against her. JJ, I think, had an off night with that. I think I'm going to capitalize on a lot of things they weren't able to, both in the striking part and the takedown department. Sabina has decent takedown defense, but I don't think so against mine.
I do want to ask one final question because I think a lot of people, looking at the numbers, oh, Miranda's dropped 0-2. she's so young. Is she ready for this? Is she all these other questions that inevitably pop up?
Mm-hmm.
The fight with Macy was obviously very controversial, and you and I talked about that, and regardless of whether or not how we felt it should have went, you acknowledged, look, I didn't get the W. Coming off this one, what can you tell fans about, hey, like where's Miranda at right now in her head going into this one with Sabina?
I see myself as three wins in the UFC and one loss, even though technically it's 2-2 right now, and right away I was put in against what I consider very high level girls, fought Liana, then I got thrown right into the top 15, got put against Jillian, very high world class level grappler, did pretty well against her, then went against Macy, who was basically the poster child of the UFC for a long time, might still be in my opinion. I think I did a really good showing against her. And then Erin's a really good prospect. She came in, surprised me, I think surprised a lot of people, but everybody already knew she was going to be a good prospect. And she showed out against me. She did a wonderful job. I think you can look at people's competition, though, and kind of get a feel for how they are. And I think I've done nothing but go against some of the top competition outside of the top 10 right now. And I think a lot of them are going to be in the top 10 very soon, as soon as they get more fights to get up there. And now my chance against Sabina is to fight her, win against that, and climb my way back up that ladder.
I have a theory, and I'll be very blunt. We're gonna get to the fun part of the interview that I always like to have with you. Um, does it have anything to do with the fact that you changed from your Led Zeppelin walkout? Because I noticed this and I was like, I was, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little surprised because I know you've gone to the Counting Crows now twice in a row.
So I have, and I might change it back. And I'm honestly really kind of upset with ESPN and stuff. I'm a huge Christian. I'm a believer in Christ. And twice now they've, in my opinion, purposely not showed my walkout, and maybe it could be something where it's like they don't want to discriminate or show religion, but then they'll show walkouts with explicits and terrible, demeaning things in them. And it kind of made me mad, So if that's what I need to do to get more attention and have my walkout shown by changing my song back to Led Zeppelin, then so be it. But it is kind of frustrating because it shows a lot of my values and a lot of the reasons that I walk out. And I also wanted to give credit to Casting Crowns as they literally made a song for me to walk out to. So
that was exclusive for you. I did not know that.
So it's a song that they have, but they remixed it as like a rocky version for me. Yeah.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah.
Can we've talked about this. Your faith and your religion is a big part of your life, and is it important to you? I want to ask, are you a big Marvel fan? Is it you or is it your family that has the German Shepherd named Thor? Because obviously people will recognize your song from the Thor Ragnarok too. Obviously very popular.
Yeah. So one of
Or
our
Thanos. Sorry.
Yeah. But it wasn't that. We just have really tried to make very masculine names for a lot of our male breeding dogs and stuff. So we have a lot of them that are named after like more Viking mythology and stuff like that. I think we have like Valkyrie and Calypso and Thanos and a lot of different kinds, but it's kind of just anything related to like Maverick or anything that goes along with that name. So yeah, and it's my stepmom that owns that breeding company, and our dog as well is basically from that line, and his name is Camino, which is actually like a Star Wars nerd name.
You know what? I was like, this has got to have a different meaning because it's like that's another one. It's like is when I Google it, it's like I didn't take her for a Star Wars person, but hey, you never know. But okay, because I did wonder about that, because obviously, the Led Zeppelin song, everyone who's seen Ragnarok associates it with the movie because it was so popular. I
Right.
saw that one of your dogs was bred from a Thanos, and I'm like, I wonder if she's just like a closet big MCU person. So I wanted the story behind that.
I'm not a huge nerd to where I get into the comic books and stuff, but I like it, and my brother was actually the one to suggest the song, and we went with it.
And then just with changing the songs, it was just a better opportunity to show more of your personality. Is that fair to say?
And I always just choose a different song when I walk out. If you look
Oh,
at history, I've chose like 10 different songs throughout, just whatever fit me. I was doing Champion, but Nunes kind of has that one pinned for her, so didn't want to be a copycat, even though I think I was using it before she was. So changed it to the Led Zeppelin one. I've done Trans-Siberian Orchestra before when it was close to Christmas. Like I've done a lot of different ones.
And I was gonna say Nunes gets to cheat because I think I want to say that what's her name, Carrie Underwood, put her in the music video for that too. So it's like,
Oh,
okay, you could have it.
I'm thinking I might do the Top Gun theme song this time.
Oh, that's gonna be cool. I think people are gonna flip for that one.
Yeah.
Finally, another hard-hitting question: how much do you and Andrea KGB Lee bond over your love of cowboy hats? Because I noticed you two have that little bit of a theme going on when I see you guys post together.
Yeah, so I actually have asked her before if she'd get upset if I started that because I feel like I'm kind of an OG with the whole ranch and everything like that. But I didn't want to like try to copycat her persona and everything. And she was like, I don't care. So I am going to make that more my thing. I love dressing up in the Western style. And lately I've kind of gotten back to those roots. It's a little bit harder when you live out in Virginia. Everybody kind of looks at you really funny when you wear a cowboy hat and cowboy boots everywhere. But out here in Colorado, it's much more the norm, just like it is in Missouri. So I'm kind of liking the vibes out here for that stuff.
Now, do you have a signature one? Because I know she's very fond of her straw hat. Are you more like the black felt, the white felt? What's your go-to?
I like the felt in general, like the Stetson style hats. I don't really have like one that I particularly like. I have like two right now. One's black and one's dark brown. I'd love a white one, but those get a little bit out of my price range right now. So once I get a few more fight bonuses under my belt, maybe we'll go to the nicer hats.
Finally, Miranda, just for the fans watching, what can they expect when they tune in to watch you versus Sabina on March 12th?
Really coming for that revenge win, I guess you'd say, and being ready to climb back up the ladder. I'm really excited to be fighting Sabina. It is short notice, but don't expect me to look any worse than I do any other time in the cage. It was short notice against Aaron Blanchfield as well. But I'm ready all the time. I'm ready to go. I'm up here training every single day, and I plan on showing how much I've improved between this and the last fight when I walk in there March 12th.
Well, Miranda, as always, looking forward to it. I'm sure it's going to be a fun one. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, you can catch Miranda, Fear the Maverick, taking on Sabina Mazo on March 12th at UFC Vegas 50. You are not going to want to miss it.